What is going on, guys? It is Fewer back here. Dog Chow is gone at the second. Uh, it's another episode of the WEHL Sports Cast. Uh, so that wild first week of the playoffs there that we had. Uh, Go ahead if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Click the bell notification. So that way you guys get notifications when we go live. You guys should be the first ones to comment here. We are almost at our 150 subscribers. I haven't updated it on what you guys are seeing, but it is actually up to, we're up to 90, 92 now. So, a couple more here. I've got kind of a different setup here this time. Um, we're going to kind of go through the bracket here. We're probably going to have a couple guests in our hot seat here. Uh, no, I'm not going to bed right now. Phone. uh, So yeah, enjoy what you're watching, and we will get right into it. One of the first things I want to do here is go ahead and look at this. What you guys are seeing on the screen right now is the bracket. You guys, everybody knows, what my predictions were. The bracket kind of you have to scroll down to see the bracket, obviously. But we are going to look at. I want to say this is the East Division. Uh, we're going to go ahead and click on per game. The stats are kind of iffy. The stat lines are. The stat line here, period one, is going to be the day one, so it would be Tuesday. Day two would be Wednesday. Day three would be Thursday. So, if you see 1-1, that means one team or both teams won a game that day. So, here the first thing that we have is the Philadelphia Flyers versus the Detroit Red Wings game. This was a series that everybody thought was going to Philly was going to take it. Philly had some some unfortunate events happening that I'm going to get in touch with one of their representatives, their owners at the time. I'll kind of maybe talk to him a little bit. Uh, another guy that we have here, we're gonna go ahead and introduce. Genji is here for the minute, and he is talking to, he's here. Genji, you there? All right,
Yes, sir.
cool.
I am here.
Genji is here with us, and we're gonna kind of talk to him, get his insight on things a little bit here. Um, Again, having players contact me, owners contact me, admins about getting on the show and everything. So I just kind of walk down the line, and see, what everybody's got to say, what else they want to say. Um, so, Gingy, going off of going to that Detroit series that we kind of that everybody that Detroit and Philly series that everybody wanted to see. Detroit took it 4-2. What was your kind of thoughts on that?
Oh, I was predicting like Philly to win that series because like you saw how Philly played in the regular season. They dominated the whole league, but clearly playoff time they were like as you said they were losing like players and stuff, and that's what sort of lost some of the momentum
Yeah, I
from that
mean,
team, losing some of their top goal scorers.
losing some of your top guys on your top line, that definitely doesn't help, especially come the playoffs. Will I had to call Will I called it De- Detroit in 6 on your show too. Yeah, yeah, you did. That's funny. Midnight or Jordan, whatever you want to go by. Jordan called it, Philly in 6. Uh, you know, watching that series that we did and everything with with T Sibs over on T Sibs Media at Twitch. I mean, that was just it didn't really seem to go Philly's way at all. Philly like Genji said, Philly had a good team in the season, and it just it just wasn't really their 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 time, I guess. We are gonna let's see, hold on. How do I? No, I wanna. Oh, I have to log. Okay, then no. Box score, player stats. No player stats available. Okay. Team stats. All right. It's kind of funky. Maybe it's in the comments. Log into comment. I've already logged in. Oh, all right. Okay. uh but what was something that you noticed kind of in the oh no, I won't bracket. In the playoffs that you've noticed so far, Gingy, what was something that kind of I guess kind of caught your eye so far out of the Detroit win, Pittsburgh series, the Montreal series, and the Ottawa series? What kind of caught your eye there?
I was watching like a lot of the streams and stuff, and I saw a lot of good hard fought hockey. Like every team did, and it's the series that caught my eye the most was Philly and Detroit, as you guys all saw.
Yeah, that the Philly and Detroit series.
And
If you guys have any comments about that, let me know. Um, yeah, that series was definitely a shocker. It shook the whole league. Going on to the next series, the Pittsburgh and New York Islanders series. You know, the Islanders didn't really they kind of fell on bad terms at the end there, and it wasn't the greatest. They their last two games they took it they took it as far as they could, and availability just happened to not work out for the guys there. They ended up having to forfeit the last two games. Kenzie, what's your thoughts on that?
like I've had like a lot of forfeit issues in other leagues, and that's not like really fun for all the players. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like everyone's there and wanting to play, and I understand like stuff happens. Like if you have like problems with like anything else like in life, that's your main priority. But the forfeits and stuff, I hate doing it to other teams. So that's sort of would have been one thing I would have been so fed up with my team
Yeah,
if
I
that
know.
ever happened.
Obviously, you come down to the playoffs, nobody wants to forfeit at all, and that was something that it happened. I mean, there really wasn't anything that you could do about it. Uh, just it kind of happens there, and I mean it definitely sucks. It sucks because those guys worked hard all season to make it to the playoffs, and then they they kind of I guess it kind of ruined their the way that their season ended. It wasn't the way that they wanted to go out. Obviously, uh, the series between Montreal and Toronto. That's Jordan and Midnight. He was on our last show here in the hot seat. But that was a series I called Montreal in four. Detroit or Toronto. Toronto took it to 6 games, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, I mean that was another one of those series, hard fought battle. The comeback story of the Montreal Canadiens this season. It lives on, and no. Jordan, how many games did that one go into then? Montreal in four was the series. Okay, so the stats are kind of well, the bracket's kind of messed up here. Love you.
Yeah, on my laptop it says it was a sweep for
Really?
Montreal.
Huh. That's odd. On mine it says
Yeah.
4-2. I Yeah, that's weird. I know you guys can see that. Uh, you know, going forward they play Ottawa. Ottawa's got a good team there. The Ottawa Senators Blue Jackets series went 4-2 there. And that wasn't too big of a surprise. I expected Columbus to kind of be a hard fought team, and from what we had seen throughout the playoffs, it was definitely a good time, definitely a good series to watch. Now, the series that, to be honest, really one of the series that surprises me the most is the Seattle Minnesota Wild game series. There, you have the top team in the Central Division, and they, I expected them to not so much. I wouldn't say so much as the dominate Minnesota, but I definitely didn't expect Minnesota to win the series in six. Uh, I expected a 7 game series, obviously, and it kind of surprised me that Minnesota. I mean, after the first night, and Seattle put up big numbers against Minnesota, and I don't know if it was just their second line that couldn't hang with everybody, or if it was it was just something else that internally that they had a problem with. I don't know if Billy, if you're out there watching, then maybe you could give us some insight on that and let us know. Another series that kind of caught my eye that I thought might have won a little longer than it did was the Winnipeg Jets series and the St. Louis Blues. Uh, St. Louis with a 4-0 sweep on them. Genji, what was your thoughts on that series, on the Minnesota series? I mean, it was it was a 4 game sweep for Winnipeg there. It definitely I don't want to say it wasn't pretty, uh, but I mean, well, what was your thoughts on that, Genji?
My thoughts with the Winnipeg series was actually I thought it was well played. Both teams both showed up and like as you've seen, I've played Winnipeg when I was with Edmonton and they don't give up. Being down like 5-0, they keep going. Like they're a team that's not going to give up, and that's what brought them here is the way they worked. And St. Louis, you sort of saw how they played regular season. They were pretty well pretty well done. Like Aubrey really brought that team
Yeah, I mean,
together, as you
both of those
saw.
owners, I have a great deal of respect for what they've kind of done throughout the season and everything. So, I mean, it definitely wasn't one a series for the lighthearted. It was a good series all the way around. And obviously, I expected some different things out of it, but at the same time, you never know. You really never know what's gonna happen. Playoffs are a whole different monster. The Vancouver
Oh yeah.
Edmonton series, again another sweep. Uh, it wasn't, I watched Edmonton uh, in the final night of the season, and Edmonton went up. They fought strong. I think they won the last 2 games of the season. It worked out well for them. But in Vancouver they just kind of shit on. I don't know what team they shit on, but it definitely wasn't pretty. And I thought maybe Edmonton was gonna take those 2 wins as a confidence boost coming into the playoffs here, and maybe it would pay off, maybe it wouldn't. but it didn't really seem that it paid off too much for him. I mean, you've uh, you've got you got Vancouver in four, but I just think that I think if it was I think if it was the other way around, I think Vancouver I think they would be rethinking a couple things right now. But at the same time, you never know. Uh yeah, I was super surprised about that series. What were your thoughts on that, Genji?
As you guys knew, like I was the former GM of Edmonton, and like what we had also when I was with the organization, we had we had a little bit of inactive. We had a lot of ECUs because of players not showing up for games when they're supposed to, and that might have that might have been an issue with Edmonton, like for the playoffs. But like after like when Scott and myself stepped down, looked like Jason Powers got it under control and turned stuff around. Got it going after that part. It's like they made some key moves at the end of the season, like closer to the end of the season, but a deadline, as you
Yeah, yeah.
saw, trading
I
away a
seen
bunch of
Edmonton
guys.
made a couple trades, but I don't know if in the long run, did those trades pay off? Was is kind of my question. Did they pay off for a first round sweep, or was it something that just something else that happened? Just not being able to get the right lines of guys out there and everything else. Another series that really doesn't really surprise me here is the Nashville Predators series. Uh, Nashville took game one of the series, and Anaheim didn't. I believe they took game one. It was yeah, yep. Anaheim Nashville took game one of the series, and then doesn't really look like Anaheim let up after that, and it just kind of went down the you know down the path that Nashville obviously didn't want it to. What do you think about that, Genji?
Like what I saw from like when I was with Edmonton and when we played against Anaheim every time, they had very solid goaltending. Like every game, their goalie stood on their head for them. They're a very good defensive team. That's what like brought them that game 7 win was their defense really helped that team out. That's that's how they've been playing like all season long, and that's even what their owner's been like telling me too,
Yeah,
how they play.
I when when I seen that Nashville had taken game one, I was like, I was kind of shocked, to be honest, because I didn't really think Nashville was gonna take one. I thought it was gonna be a sweep, but they took game one, and I thought, well, maybe that'll turn the tide for Nashville. Maybe that's what Nashville needs, and maybe that was something big that Nashville could have held on to. But it just I don't think it paid off in their favor at all, really. Uh, and looking forward to round two, working our way from the bottom up. Now, you've got uh, you've got Vancouver versus Anaheim in the first round. Uh, you know, it, me personally, uh, watching both of these teams play, I think this could be a 7 game series. But I think that I think Anaheim is going to walk away with this series. What do you think, Genji?
What I've been seeing, like Vancouver and Anaheim, they have two different styles. Vancouver's very high scoring team. Anaheim's very low scoring team every time. So I think it's gonna be like a really good series for sure. We'll see like which team will strike. I think whoever wins game 1 is gonna win the series. Basically, that's what I think out of it. So it's gonna be really good all the way through.
Is, go
Like
ahead.
I'm expecting, I was gonna go for game 6. I was gonna go for Vancouver with game
Really?
six.
So
That's what my prediction was.
you think
Yeah.
Anaheim will will get two, but Vancouver's gonna end it in six. I mean, it's really, if you got two different styles of play, come to the playoffs, things can happen. Things can go your way, things cannot go your way, but we kind of never know, especially now after seeing what happened with the Philadelphia series there, and that was something that none of us expected. I don't think. So yeah, we'll have to see how that one plays out for us. The Minnesota Wild St. Louis Blues series. Ontario Gunna, he's got a great team over there. He's definitely put together a a a solid core, and I think he could. Do you think that Gunna can outplay Rapel, or the owner of the Blues at the time? I don't know exactly who it is, but do you think that they can play past, or kind of get past that and see what happens?
I think that Minnesota can get past it. Like if they put their right lines, they got to put like their top defenders and their defensive forwards all over Rapel the entire game. Like they're gonna have to play like shutdown for on him. Have like at least two guys all over him, not letting him get that puck at all. Because that's how like, some teams got shut down very well through that way.
Yeah, watching watching a lot of these guys and a lot of these teams play, and and how they do everything. It's definitely it's been interesting to say the least. You know, I'm a big believer in I think that that you could that you could build a team around you can't build a team around one guy. You know, Blues are deeper, and I think it'll go to. How's it
What's
going?
up?
Hold on, Nick. I'm gonna mute you for like 2 seconds.
Hmm.
Ah, I think that the Blues, it's like Jordan just said in the chat. The Blues are deeper, uh, and but then again, if it comes down to that game seven, then anybody can anybody can play in that game seven. So watch out, watch out, uh, Minnesota. But the Blues are a strong core. The Blues are a strong team, and I guess we'll have to see where that kind of leads them. Uh, Looking up here on the Montreal Canadiens Ottawa Senators story, or the series, I don't think Montreal's done. I think uh, I think Montreal's still got a couple solid games left in them to either reach the Stanley Cup or even win it. What are your thoughts on that, Gingy?
I think like the way how like Jordan really turned Montreal around, bringing in those guys as you saw last week what he was saying on the show. I think they can go pretty deep into the playoffs. They just keep on playing like a team and keep practicing like they have been. They should definitely be a contending team.
Yeah, that's a big thing
Like
is keeping your guys together. Uh, keeping them together, keeping them focused on not only not only winning it all, but also making sure that they know what uh, what to look for, what to kind of expect in a team. Like I said, if all the streams are available for guys, if you can find a stream of guys that you're playing, watch it, study it, get your guys to know, who's there and who's doing what. Uh, what do you think the big thing for Ottawa is in And what's a big thing for Ottawa here, Gingy?
I think for Ottawa and stuff, they're gonna have to play lockdown against their number one line, because that number one line has been producing a lot of points for Montreal. And like as I've said, some teams, what I've done with several like seasons of management, I've actually like taken notes from some teams and found their weak spots on streams to work on those plays on how to figure it out. I think like if Ottawa like starts like watching their old streams and see where those weak spots are at, I think Ottawa can dominate.
Yeah, I mean, and Jordan being that that's his old team, I know Pooley is gonna, Pooley Sports Pooley over there, that the owner of Ottawa, he's gonna do his best to kind of want to shut down Jordan. I mean, he definitely, you know, I don't want to say he lost a good asset, but I don't want to say that I don't know if he gained anything better. I mean, you got a guy that has the mindset to be able to turn a team around, get guys in there that want to play, dig yourself out of a 4-16 hole, and now be in the second round of the playoffs. I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna find a much better guy there with that. Looking at our last series here, um, Detroit versus Pittsburgh. Um, Truthfully, I mean, Detroit is hot right now knocking off the number one team in the league. Really, I think Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh doesn't need to take them lightly. I think that they need to really crack down, focus on them, and everything, and see. Don't count them out too early. I mean, obviously, beating Philadelphia was a big thing for them. I mean, they've got the Art Ross and having the Art Ross winner and I don't know the other one, but in oh,
Maurice Richard.
there's Doggy. There he is. But
What's up, guys? I'm back.
having those guys on your team, having a team built, I mean, Pittsburgh's really, you can't play the standard crap that everybody wants to play. You're gonna have to play, two man on each days, and shut them down there. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, you're just gonna have to play like you basically did against the Islanders. You gotta play really defensively. You gotta find a way to shut down their first line with it stays. Um, and Zomboy and I believe it's Thompson, who's also on that team. And of course, can't forget about him, Professor Marana. Can't forget about that guy either. Um, you're gonna have to find a way to shut their first line down for sure, and um, not only that, but also find ways to score goals against the really solid defensive pairing they have. I mean, Detroit is a very underrated team, so hopefully, let's see if Pittsburgh goes into that series, if they take them lightly or not. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, it's like Jordan said here in the chat, 1-1 series split with Detroit and Pittsburgh in the season. So really, I mean, it's kind of one of those anybody's series type of things. Gigi, any final thoughts here for you before we get you out of here? Kind of get onto the hot seat here. What are your plans for next season, Gigi?
Oh, next season and stuff. I'm pretty sure I'm protected by the Florida Panthers again, and I'm actually playing defense now. I've sort of had a little bit of a rough start this year as goalie, so I wanted to try a new position out as defense, and hopefully I can do well and have a good time with
Well,
it.
that's go ahead.
But as like some of you guys were seeing, like back to the Detroit and Pittsburgh series, I think I've actually played with its Days and Cap and URA. Played with both of them before. They're both like really good players to shut down. Like or I meant not to shut down, really good players to play against. Because Days will find the open slot and get those nice goals. Cap will just set them up every time. And Cap Cap and Days together, like they play a lot, so they have like some pretty good chem together when they're both on a line.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said, like we've said, it's definitely it'll be a fun series to watch. All of these series will be fun to watch. You guys can catch all of them on TSIBS 88 Media over on Twitch, and I think we're gonna try to set something up to where where all the where it can be streamed on this channel too. But just gotta kind of make sure we set it up right and make sure everything's going the way we need to for us to be able to do that. Any final words, Gingy? Bold predictions, something to kind of state that you were on the show here.
I can. I'm rooting for Detroit for the Stanley Cup. That's the team I want to go for because I think they got what it takes. Like as I said, some of the guys on that team I'm pretty close with, and hopefully they can win it. But who knows? There could be, like as you see, Philadelphia getting eliminated by Detroit. But Detroit with that moment, I think since they beat Philly, they're gonna have the momentum to keep rolling, like they were out there.
Oh yeah, alrighty. Go ahead.
But yeah, I wish every team the best of luck in the playoffs, and we'll see you next season.
Thanks, Gingy. Thanks for coming on with us here.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night and good luck, everybody.
All right, Ian. I think we're gonna talk to probably the most. We're gonna switch over to the section of the show that most guys want to hear about, the hot seat. We're gonna put a guy in the hot seat, kind of quiz him, see what's going on, get the down and dirty on some teams here. So, you there, Mick? All right.
I'm here.
So as many of you guys know, Philadelphia had probably the worst indestructive inside problem. Being the number one team in the playoffs and then becoming whatever. There we go. Then kind of coming back. Coming back, Nick, kind of, I guess, kind of feed us in on that. What was something that was kind of going through your guys? What kind of went on in that, that couple-day process there?
Well, alright, so, it really wasn't a couple of days, it was one day. And that happened to be games right before games 3 and 4, so which was Wednesday. I mean, there was a lot of things going on with a few guys in the Discord after game 2. There was a lot of arguing and everything, so that's when CDATS and a few of the other guys just decided to get up and leave and not even bother to finish. Me and one of the main guys was King Nate Moore. We were trying to figure out just 6 guys to put on the ice at this point. The last thing we wanted to do was just forfeit the last 2 games of the series. We wanted to put 6 guys on the ice, whether it was a good line or bad line, whatever it was, just to play. We wanted just to prove that we can get 6 guys just to play. We don't have to forfeit. Let's finish the season with some dignity. And then, kind of after that, it was just CDATS gets back involved and kind of just was like, well, you're not putting this line out. It got all crazy for like at least a good 5 hours trying to figure out who's gonna run the team to who's still gonna play, and it was just a complete shit show.
Yeah, and from my understanding, you took over the team there. What was some?
Yeah. Oh well. Beaver Claps. He took over his ownership because he was the AGM when CDATS owned at the time until he was suspended. It was Claude and Beaver Claps as the management to him. So once we got everything situated with that, Beaver became the owner, and he pretty much had me as the GM.
What was kind of going through, your mind when everything kind of happened? Was it like, oh great, here we go, or was it, kind of a panicky mood that you were like, well, fuck, like, well, what do we do? What kind of really went through your mind on that?
It was more just, it wasn't like what are we gonna do. It was more, okay, who's gonna play? Who wants to play? And can we just put 6 guys on the ice? And if it happened to be the last 2 games of the season for us, where Detroit just happened to beat us because we just had 6 guys that really never they may be out of position and stuff like that. We wanted 6 guys on the ice no matter what. If we were going to lose, we're going to lose with 6 guys. We're not losing on a forfeit. And we were refusing that. So my process was just message as many people as possible to figure out when, when we could play. Just when and who can play. That was really what was going through that was going through a lot of our heads. When everyone before CDATS and a few of the other guys got involved.
Can you kind of take us in detail? Not too far into detail, where it would be kind of, I guess. Well, you guys are knocked out of the playoffs. Just go ahead and take us into detail on, kind of what was going on with CDATS. What happened? Was it he just wanted to kind of force a forfeit, or kind of give us an insight on that, like what was going
on? I don't. It wasn't him trying to force a forfeit. It was, like I said before, he was arguing with a few of the guys on Discord throughout the night. I didn't really read much into it because by the time I, woke up and figured out what the hell just happened with our team, it wasn't really panic. It was just, okay, which 6 guys can play? I mean, everyone that was pretty much still on the team that wanted to play either had 1 to no games played. So we weren't even worried, even if we had to go to day 3, which we did. But even if we had to go to day 3, we wouldn't be as messed with that. We wouldn't be screwed with that. So, but I don't know what his motive was. I don't know. I feel like, this is mine and a few other guys on the team because we would talk about it. We were talking about it before the game, just in a party chat. We feel like he thought we were going to forfeit and he wasn't going to be the reason why there was a forfeit. And then I guess he read in the league chat that that we're talking to Detroit and saying we're getting 6 guys on the ice, and he wanted to try to join back. And there was a lot of arguing with that, and we were just refusing to let him try to run this team again, even though he wasn't even supposed to because he was suspended for 5 weeks, which he would have been only eligible till round 3.
So you brought it up. We have kind of avoided it. Ian, have we not tried to avoid that, the whole conflict? Oh, I think Ian's still there. Maybe he isn't.
Yeah, I was kind of like confused on what all happened at first, so I kind of just like kept it to myself. So it's just one of those things that happens. If you lose, people tend to quit. I don't know what it was. I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean,
It,
unfortunately, it happens.
yeah, I mean, one of the things I did read, because I tried to read through it before it got crazy, before I really, you know, try to process everything. I read a little bit, and one of the things it seemed like it was availability. Um, but I mean, wouldn't really have availability problem now if he didn't ever, get suspended for what he got suspended for.
Right. And I don't, for the people watching, I don't know. I don't really know if they. I mean, obviously, anybody that is familiar as with the league, has played in the league all season, they kind of know kind of what is going on. But all we really the only thing that the people in the league really ask for, like, just don't. Like, I don't know. I don't get. I guess I just don't know how to say it. Uh, but just don't be an asshat. I know that doesn't come out right, but don't be the guy that has to cheat to win. And I know that's a big thing. And that everybody wants to win, obviously, but like we've said before, there's so much talent in this league. There's so many guys in this league. Uh, that I think if you develop a good team, you wouldn't have to second tag. You wouldn't have to, tamper with guys. You wouldn't have to get all in. How do I say it? Like in. You wouldn't have to get indignant with guys. You wouldn't have to kind of. How do I say this? Ian, help me out here. I know you know the word I'm looking for. Like,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
you wouldn't have, like, guys wouldn't have to, like, they wouldn't have to get all, like, uptight about it. Uptight about losing, or, uptight,
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the exact word. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, if looking at the Philly situation, and I know if anyone's watching, or I mean, with the with everyone against Philly, it was all due to Philly. Like, before I even was traded to them, Philly was already a problem with a lot of the people. No one liked them because all they did was run their mouths. And that's why when the whole thing was going on, no one really felt bad until they, no one felt bad for a lot of us, and we didn't care. It wasn't. But what rubbed people the wrong way was the way they acted and the way they were, way before all this happened, way before even CDOTS got suspended. And I guess that's where, it was the problem, and everyone, kind of just like, okay, it is what it is, and this is what Philly deserves.
I mean, I wasn't a big fan of, uh, you're gonna run your mouth, okay, that's one thing. I get that. It is what it is. Everybody's either one got an ego, or two, everybody kind of talk shit. But to the extent, there's an extent from like chirping to just being an asshole, I guess. And that wasn't something I wasn't a real big fan of it. I wasn't like it wasn't to me. It wasn't something that I could get behind and be into it, I guess. Because I've never been the type to want to sit there and talk down on the team. Like, my team obviously wasn't the best. I'll flat out say that. Like, I mean, obviously, like, we had our ups and downs. We had our agreements. We had our disagreements. I had great management. I had outstanding support, both here at home, and the support that I had from the guys. But I think listening to a lot of the shit and a lot of the backstory, and just the I'm better than you attitude It just wasn't for me. Like how did how did you deal with that when it came to actually being on the team, Nick?
Which team?
Philly.
Well, one of the things was when I was traded, um, I was mainly going to be a goalie for them. They already were deep in forward positions. I mean, I played maybe I think 3 or 4 games and as a forward, but my main thing was going to be as their goalie. So I didn't have to worry about so much as to deal with the egos, as I can just let them play, and their play should do the talking. And if it didn't, I was just gonna be how I am in net and just rag on them the entire time.
Uh,
Like I'm not, if you're not gonna, if you're gonna talk all this shit and you're not gonna back it up, everyone that's ever played with me in net knows how I am. That I will dig into you till
yeah,
there's no tomorrow.
obviously, for the people watching and everything, it kind of surprises me that obviously everybody expected Philadelphia to go far in the playoffs and win it all. Obviously, you know, it was uh, it was a surprise when basically you guys had the internal combustion of it all, and it was a surprise really when you guys got eliminated. Because it was like, whoa, like now Detroit's got to kind of back it up. You know, what's your thoughts on Detroit? Not only beating you guys, but doing it in the fashion that it happened
Well, look, once again, I mean, from the first 2 games and on Tuesday, from the first 2 games, I mean, it was they took it to us. There's nothing, they took it to our best guys, and which was kind of another one of the arguments was, well, why would we need our best guys if Detroit just destroyed our best guys? They destroyed anyone that played game one except for I think Beaver Clubs, and I think 1 or 2 defensemen that played the first day. Detroit had our way. Like, they had their way. They can do whatever they want. I mean, it they they're solid all around. They don't just have forwards. Like, their defense was stellar the entire series, and their goalie play is unreal too. I mean, Pittsburgh really is gonna have a tough time with them. I say it maybe goes 5, and it's going to
there.
Detroit.
Ooh, okay. Ian, go ahead. You take over on the interview for a minute, as long as you're there, right? Maybe Ian's there. Hey.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead. You take over on the interview for a minute. Let me go get a bottle of water.
All right, so Mick,
Yes.
how was your thought on this season as a whole, as being the first season of the league existing?
Um, there's a lot of kinks that will be worked out that that I know they'll work out as a league. As far as play goes, I mean, you can't ask for better. I mean, considering what with all the new trying to get all the new owners in that would all the new ones in, or from the old owners from that were in Facebook or that have been LG and VG. They anyone that came over. And I mean, like I said, they're gonna be kinks that the league is gonna have to figure out. But as a whole, I mean, I think it's a pretty successful one. It was a successful first season. Um, there's I mean, the teams that made the playoffs, they really didn't have much problems. I mean, I know Detroit did. I know they had a few problems at the beginning of the season. But when when Connor took over, Connor was a stellar owner uh, back in AHL last season. So I mean, these owners, they did what they felt they can do. Um, that with all the kinks going on, so season two is gonna need a lot of work. There's gonna be a lot of work that's gonna need to be done for season two, for it to continue to grow.
Oh, okay. So, Nick, what everybody knows you as a stats guy, well, the previous stats guy.
Yeah, it was.
What are your intentions for next season? Are you gonna hop into a management role, or what are you gonna?
Well, I don't know. It depends on the team I decide to go to. If they're looking for management, I mean, I'm not gonna. I can't do again where I'm majority owner. Even if I am a GM, I can't do that again. I will need like everyone's full cooperation as a management, but I'm not going to be an owner. If the owner decides to have me as a GM or a GM, I probably will do it. I don't see as to why I wouldn't.
I mean, with your background and I don't actually know what even asked you. uh, oh,
He
okay.
was asking about the league.
Yeah, let's focus on that. I mean, that's something we kind of try to touch on. You start to see a lot more guys at the end of the season. As the season one winds down, you see a lot more guys that are kind of joining in, getting their kind of dabbling their feet into the Discord, playing with some guys. But what's your big look forward to for next season? I guess you could say.
Making sure that there's there's enough people to actually have a good amount of people on a roster. Not trying to deal with this prospect pool. I feel like teams got screwed left and right with the prospect pool. There was way too many prospects that, even the prospects got screwed. Forget even the teams. The prospects were getting screwed. I mean, they got to play a game to figure out someone could sign them, and then once someone puts in a claim, there was a few different reasons to why they went to this team or that team, and that's one thing that they got to figure out, and that's what I'm hoping that, just so everyone can get into the league and get onto a team, which is if they decide to bring in like TC, or just something better than what this was.
That was I was just thinking that are you looking for how do I say it? Were you looking more at a like a TC setup where you have every team gets assigned so many guys, and you get your first core of you get your first core set up, and then kind of after that, you go to the TC, and you start building a TC roster.
Well, given a little bit of the insight, that's something that was talked about when I was an admin, as to maybe just bringing in TCs instead of worrying about the prospects, where either it was drafting or there was a few ideas thrown around, but I think if you do TC, then you only have to worry about there's a few guys that you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about scrambling to find ECUs where you could be like, okay, my TC guys are here. I can use those guys as ECUs, and not have to worry about, well, if I get this guy to play, and if I want to sign him, then there's more problems with that, or if a guy says he was a prospect and really wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like for the first year, I think everything it ran as smooth as it could for the first year. And this was everybody was kind of thrown into it. But I think the second year, nothing on Keith, Scott, Amanda, Doc, any of them. Obviously, I think that there are some things that could be improved. Obviously, but I think that there also are some things that don't need improving. Maybe need to be toned back a little bit. What are some improvements besides prospects that you would like to see?
Everything. There's not a thing that needed to be pulled back on. There's a lot that needs to just be restructured. There's a lot that with there's just a lot of things that they weren't by the book, or they weren't talked about, or weren't enforced properly. And there's even if the league ran as the league ran as smooth as it could, considering what was the first season and everything. But as a league, you have to realize that no matter what you do, it'll never be that there's always you should look to improve on everything in the league. You're not just looking to improve this specific part, it's not specific parts. It's more everything. You gotta look at it as a whole. But there is everything that needs to be looked at if for the admins.
So you just you want to see a better product all the way around. Kind of what you're saying.
Yep.
What are your insights on I guess kind of what are your thoughts on stat wise, like what they're going to do? I don't know if you have any insight on what they're going to be doing next season for stats, or, something different,
well,
or is it still going to be the same?
Well, when I left as head of stats, a lucky pucker took over. I told him what he should do, and that was, if not enforce them to use my stats, to find something better than what Sports Engine did, because there was a lot of problems with that. With my stats, you as head of stats have a lot more control, as you can enforce, with the whole big thing as owners had was the 24-hour rule. With something like Sports Engine, when any owner of a team can go back in and change their stats from the beginning of the season, it's kind of one of those things that it's hard to maintain. And with my stats, you can close it out and you're the only one that can open it. So you have a lot more control and you can enforce a lot more. And I told the lucky pucker that he should really push for something, if not my stats, something similar to my stats instead of using the Sports Engine stats.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously, I've had my fair share of ups and downs with not only the league, with players in the league dealing with all of that, but I've had my ups and downs with the website. I've had obviously everything. But what's something that you're looking forward to next season? I guess you could say.
I mean, there's nothing, nothing crazy to look forward to. Just it's another season. Kind of looking forward to what my role will be on a team if I have a role or if I'm just another player. Just looking forward to playing with kind of a bunch of new people.
Yeah,
Because the last few times I've played in league, it's either been management or I went with people I knew, and I mean that's as management. Obviously, you get the people you want that that can play. And it was like when I signed with you, it was just a whole bunch of our guys that I knew either through you or played because I knew because they were on the teams that I owned and managed,
yeah, I mean,
and it was just fun.
I had, like I said, our season didn't end the way I wanted it to. Obviously, the way I wanted it to, we would still be playing, we'd still be in the playoffs, but the, the way I didn't, the way it ended, it wasn't the way we wanted. Obviously, I sent you to a playoff team, which I did that. I did it out of good faith. Obviously, I don't want anybody to go to a shitty team. I mean, maybe I do. Maybe I should now, but maybe something I'm looking forward to just as a person. As many of you guys know, I've owned quite a few seasons. Uh, I'll be registered this season to play, but as of now, officially, I'm not signing up to be an owner. I'm not going to return as owner. Uh, I know a lot of my guys that played on my team. I don't know if they know it or not, but as of now, I'm not returning as an owner. I will be focusing on obviously the show, and furthering the show, the YouTube for the league, and to get to kind of help the league grow, get our name out there, get our media out there. Me and Ian have talked. We're gonna do a lot more next season. If they decide to do a draft, we're gonna cover it. That's
Should do a live
exactly,
draft.
if
Yes.
they do a draft, then we will
Let's
do a
be
live
way
draft.
better.
We'll do a live watch party. We will, that first overall pick, you'll be able to see it. We'll sit here, we'll have a pre-draft show, we'll have a post-draft show, and if the draft goes 2 days, well, we'll be here both days, from start to finish of the draft. And I'm just gonna kind of looking like they said, I'm looking forward to furthering my knowledge of hockey not alone, but also kind of furthering the people I know. Ian, kind of what are your expectations and what are your goals for next season there?
Well, obviously, my expectations are very high. Um, I think there's gonna be a lot of things to improve on, especially not only on the league side, but definitely for the media side. Like as you all know, we've added T-Sibs to the media, as well as possibly White Knucklers as well to the media team, and we are gonna be looking for possibly another media member for next season, so that will give us about 6 media members total. And yeah, and media will be a lot better next season, and we'll be we'll be showing more content for you guys, and there won't be very little breaks or anything like we did this season, because I know in the beginning of the season we started up our first stream, and then we didn't stream for 2-3 more weeks after that. So lately we've been doing it more.
That kind of I want to mention on here is, you know, us here, uh, you know, we want to be able to do giveaways, you know, for the guys, you know, and if there's something that you guys want to see us give away, or there's something that you guys, you know, have kind of in the back of your mind, you know, let us know. We'll jot it down. We'll discuss it. You know, maybe we can do it. Right now, our sub goal for YouTube is we are at 88. We're actually at 92 subscribers. At 150, we're gonna do a $25 gift card to the PS, $25 PSN card, or a $25 gift card to the what's it called? To the NHL shop. You know, kind of talking about that. You know, what do you think? You know, it's going to take to get guys to get the league's name out there. You know, is there something that is really going to have to kind of catch their eye, or you know, do you think just word of mouth will kind of do it?
I mean, it's not only just word of mouth. It's gonna take, like, on your guys' side. I know you guys like to do, you know, one of the things I know, Will, you've talked about it, you know, as just you were my owner, and not only an owner, you were a friend, you know, my friend, and we kind of just talk, even if we're not playing video games, we kind of just talk. And one of the things you guys wanted to do was, you know, like the top 10 hits, top 10 goals and stuff like that, so, the owners, you know, kind of have to do their part, but you gotta, you know, what's gonna have to happen is they're gonna have to maybe share some of their stuff on their social media accounts, kind of get it in that way, you know, put it into the NHL groups, you know, the EASHL groups on Facebook, and if there's any on Instagram or Twitter, you know, get everything you can out there. There's almost, I think, 20,000 people in these groups, on that I'm on Facebook, and that's the only way you're gonna get anyone to even like have a shot at looking at. You know, but it can't just come from you guys. It's gonna have to come from the players. You know, the players and owners and management of the league are gonna have to put their work in for it as well. You can't just have media guys. You gotta have guys that know other players outside of leagues.
You know, yeah, I mean, our big thing here at media, you know, was just kind of getting us started this season. And next season, you know, obviously it'll be run a little smoother, it'll be run a little better. You know, I mean, we've kind of went over a bunch, not only tonight, but, you know, in our past episodes. You know, I mean, really, I mean, I think this one's going to be kind of a shorter one of our episodes here. But I mean, Mick, do you have any last words you want to say before we get out of here?
Watch out for Detroit. That's all I have to say.
Wow.
That's all I have to say. Detroit. You sleep on Detroit for one game, you're gonna have a bad time.
Well, all right.
It's plain and
Mick,
simple.
We're gonna get you out of here, man. Thanks for
Alrighty, boys.
no problem,
Thank
man.
you
Thanks
for having me.
us in on
Yep.
on the whole Philly situation and how that played out.
No, absolutely, yeah. That was a fuck situation,
Right.
so. But whatever. We got to a game 6, and we did the best we could, and I give a lot of props to the guys that stuck around for us. And, you know, hopefully next season they have a better experience with a better owner and one that doesn't get suspended or just a complete asshole.
Alrighty, Mick. Thanks, man.
So, alrighty, boys. Thank you.
Yep.
Ian, I mean, you know, very, very, very bold there by Mick. You know, he kind of said some things that I think we've all been kind of been wanting to say all season, and we just haven't. What are your what are your thoughts on that, man?
I think he was just being. I think he was just being real. I mean, he was telling the truth. I mean, guys like that are are pretty good for who they are, and shout out to him for, you know, telling the truth and giving a little deeper insight on what he thinks about the league and how the whole
Yeah,
Philly
I think
situation went down.
that takes it takes
Yeah.
a lot of balls when 100+ members of the league sit here and watch this on a weekly basis, and I mean, like we've said, we try to get the realest interviews that we can. None of this is scripted. Kind of on the fly questions, and that's what we like about it. Any last words for this coming up week 2 in the playoffs here?
Um, I just want to say this. There's gonna be a lot of games to a lot of games. I mean, all these series that are left, they're all gonna be good. I believe Thursday night I made predictions of what I thought was gonna go down, and I said a lot of these series are gonna go to Game 7. So I think the series to watch for. I think it's going to be the Detroit and Pittsburgh series. That is going to be a series to watch. I mean, they're all good series to watch, but that one especially. And then a team to watch is Montreal. You know how we like the whole story of how they turned it around this season. They're playing against a really solid Ottawa team, so let's see how well they do that. And not only that, but another series, a little bit of an underdog story: the Minnesota Wild going against the St. Louis Blues, a very powerful team, very, very solid throughout their whole team. They have a lot of depth, and they have a lot of firepower. So let's see how well Minnesota does. Props to them for upsetting the Central Division champions this season, the Seattle Emeralds. So good for them. And then I think this is, I think in terms of the Western Conference, I think this series is going to be the best, and I think it's going to be it's the Anaheim and Vancouver series. I think that series is for sure going 7 games.
Yeah,
So definitely entertaining round 2, and we'll bring all the content for you guys Tuesday night with T-Sibs and Knucklers, hopefully.
yeah, I mean, great group of guys that we got left in the playoffs. I mean, we'll just have to see, how everything goes. Go ahead, leave a like, leave a comment on the video. Let us know what you feel in Discord. Once we hit that goal, man, once we hit the goal for subscribers, that giveaway will come quick. And, don't be strangers. Tag us, let us know your guys' thoughts. Let us, kind of give us ideas, message us. We're all in the Discord. And, you guys have a good night.